Not just about flying around in a suit. You feel the weight of legacy, the ache of trying to prove herself in a world built for everyone but her. The supporting cast is no less incredible. You got Anthony Ramos bringing a sly charm and complexity to Parker Robbins, a.k.a. the Hood, a villain who's not just a bad guy, but a product of the same environment that shaped Riri. And there's Alden Ehrenreich, yes, that Han Solo, showing up as a conflicted tech mogul, giving the kind of nuanced performance that makes you question who's really the hero and who's a villain. Even the smaller roles, Lyric Ross as Riri's best friend Natalie and Sacha Baron Cohen, believe it or not, making a scene-stealing appearance as Mephisto, are perfectly cast. Now, you can't talk about a Marvel movie without talking about the budget, right? Ironheart came in at a cool $200 million, a number that puts it right up there with the heavy hitters. But what's remarkable is where that money went. It's not just in the suits, the explosions, or the seamless CGI. It's in the way Chicago comes alive on screen. The gritty South Side alleys, the glowing neon of the city at night, the warm hum of Riri's makeshift garage. You see, Marvel didn't just use the city as a backdrop. They lived there, filming on location. They poured money into local crews, local businesses, even local artists with graffiti and murals you'll see in the film. It makes everything feel real, grounded, lived in. You're not just watching another generic city get blown up. You're in Riri's world. And speaking of box office, what a phenomenon. Ironheart opened to a $180 million weekend in the U.S. alone, blowing past even the most optimistic projections. Globally, it's already passed a $1.2 billion mark, outpacing some of Marvel's previous sure things. It's not just about ticket sales. It's about who's showing up. The lines outside theaters are filled with young girls, black kids, science nerds, entire families. There's a buzz and electricity, because for the first time, a lot of people are seeing themselves on screen not just as a friend, the sidekick, or the background. They're the genius, the hero, the one with the iron heart. Awards? You better believe it. Ironheart isn't just cleaning up in the technical categories, although, yeah, the visual effects teams are already getting their Oscar suits pressed. The real shocker is the talk around Dominique Thorne. Early screenings had critics whispering Best Actress, and now it's official. She's up for major awards. Even the script, written by Chinaka Hodge, is in the conversation for its sharp dialogue, emotional heft, and the way it weaves science, family, and superhero spectacle into something entirely new. But let me take you behind the scenes for a minute, because this film wasn't just built in a writer's room or on a green screen. The crew spent months in Chicago, not just filming, but working with local students, running STEM workshops, and even recruiting engineering students as technical consultants. The Ironheart suit itself? It's based on real designs from MIT grads, with consultations from women of color in engineering. You can feel that authenticity, the way Riri tinkers, the way her hands move, the pride she takes in her work. This isn't just science fiction. It's a love letter to every kid who ever dreamed of building something great with their own hands. The music, oh man. Laura Cartman is on the score, and she mixes classic Marvel bombast with a thumping, tech-infused hip-hop edge that pulses through every chase, every moment of discovery. But the real treat is the soundtrack. Chance the Rapper, No Name, even some unreleased Saba tracks. The sound of Chicago is everywhere. You hear the city's heartbeat in every scene. Cinematography? It's not your usual glossy blue and orange Marvel palette. Here, Diego Garcia brings an almost documentary feel to the streets of Chicago. Wide shots drenched in streetlight, close-ups that linger on Riri's hands soldering wires, sweat running down her brow as she pushes herself further and further. When the action hits, the camera isn't afraid to get messy. You feel every crash, every misstep. The suit isn't perfect. Sometimes it sparks, sometimes it falters, and the camera is right there, shaking with every impact. There's one sequence, a nighttime flight over Lake Michigan, city lights flickering below, Riri's face reflected in the visor, fear and wonder warring in her eyes. That's already legendary. It's cinema. Now, let's talk controversy, because what's a Marvel launch without a little drama? Before release, there were whispers online about the film being too political, about focusing too much on race, on gender, on social justice. Some people called it woke. The studio held its ground. In interviews, Bailey and Thorne both said, "If you want the world to change, you have to show the world as it is." And when the movie came out, all that noise melted away, because what you get isn't a lecture. It's a story. A deeply personal, universally resonant story about what it means to be smart, to be underestimated, to fight for your place in a world that wants to ignore you. But what really sets Ironheart apart isn't the suits or the budget or even the big Marvel connections. It's the impact. This movie is changing what a superhero film can be. It's a beacon for kids, especially girls, especially kids of color, who have never seen themselves in the big, bold letters of a superhero title. Already, schools across the country are using the film as a launch pad for STEM programs. Merch isn't just toys and t-shirts. It's Ironheart-branded science kits, coding games, model engines. Marvel's never done anything quite like this before, and the fans are eating it up. Behind the camera, the story is just as inspiring. Bailey fought hard for an inclusive crew. Over 60% of the department heads were women or people of color, a first for any major Marvel film. The set was described as family-like, with cast and crew sharing meals, working through story problems, and even hosting impromptu open mic nights in between shooting. You hear these stories of Dominique Thorne spending weekends visiting local robotics clubs or Anthony Ramos surprising fans at midnight screenings, and you realize this isn't just a movie, it's a movement. And the visual effects, wow. Instead of relying only on digital wizardry, the production mixed practical effects with CGI in ways that just feel right. The Mark II suit, it's real metal. When it sparks, that's a real pyrotechnic. When Riri flies, it's a blend of wirework, drone shots, and CGI that never once pulls you out of the moment. There's a tactile quality here, something you feel in your bones. The action is breathtaking, but it's the quiet moments, the pause before a test flight, the late-night arguments with her mom, the way Riri stares at a photo of Tony Stark and wonders if she'll ever live up to the name, that stick with you long after the credits roll. Even the marketing for Ironheart broke new ground. Instead of just trailers and billboards, Marvel partnered with tech nonprofits and STEM advocacy groups. Riri Williams became not just a character, but a symbol. Her face on murals in cities from Chicago to Lagos. Her story inspiring think pieces about what it means to invent, to persist, to be heard. Social media was flooded with kids showing off their own Ironheart-inspired inventions. Teachers organizing viewing parties, scientists writing open letters praising the film's commitment to authenticity. Filming locations weren't limited to sound stages. Key scenes were shot on the actual University of Illinois campus, with real students as extras. The south side of Chicago is everywhere, from the polished halls of MIT to the rusted fire escapes and basketball courts where Riri first dreams of flight. There's a soul to this movie that comes from being grounded in real places, real communities. Even the film's climactic battle, a rooftop chase with the hood, magic, and tech colliding against the backdrop Chicago skyline, is shot with realism that makes every punch, every explosion, feel weighty and real. What about the legacy? Ironheart isn't just being compared to other Marvel debuts. It's being spoken about in the same breath as Black Panther. For a new generation, Riri Williams is Iron Man. The merchandise, the think pieces, the Halloween costumes. She's already entered the cultural bloodstream. And it's not just America. The global reception has been massive, especially in places where stories of black girls in STEM are rarely, if ever, told. And let's not forget the humor. For all its emotional weight, Ironheart is funny as hell. The banter between Riri and Natalie is quick, sharp, and real. Anthony Ramos brings that perfect blend of menace and charm. There are moments that'll have you grinning ear to ear, just before the next scene knocks the wind out of you. It's a roller coaster in the best possible way. So, why do you need to see Ironheart? Because it's everything you love about superhero stories, but flipped, reimagined, re-energized for a world that desperately needs new heroes. Because it's proof that blockbuster movies can be bold, political, personal, and still wildly entertaining. Because Dominique Thorne is about to become a household name, and you'll want to say you saw her first. Because it'll make you cheer, it'll make you cry, and if you've ever felt like you didn't belong, like you weren't seen, it'll make you feel like you could be the one in the suit, forging your own legacy. Trust me, Ironheart isn't just a movie, it's a spark. It's an anthem. It's the beginning of something bigger, not just for Marvel, but for all of us. Go see it. Bring your friends, your family, your inner kid who still dreams of flying. You'll walk out of that theater believing, even if just for a moment, that genius can come from anywhere, and that a true hero's heart is made of so much more than steel. Hey everyone, gather in close for a minute. I've got a story you won't want to miss about Let's Start About Film. Not just because it's a Marvel story, not just because it's got one of the freshest faces in the superhero world, but because Ironheart is a work of art that is bold as its name, as moving as its metal-forged heroine, and as relevant as anything to hit the screen in recent years. The first thing you have to know about Ironheart is this. It's directed by Sam Bailey, who made her mark with visually sharp, emotionally raw storytelling on series like Dear White People. Marvel took a gamble, handing her the keys to one of the most anticipated standalone debuts in the MCU's recent phase. And let me tell you, she doesn't just steer the ship, she rockets it forward. But a director is only as good as her team, and here's where Ironheart shines. At the center is Dominique Thorne, playing Riri Williams, a young black genius from Chicago who steps into the suit and legacy of Iron Man. Thorne brings a kind of fire and vulnerability you rarely see in a superhero debut. Every moment she's on screen, you believe she's wrestling with genius, grief, anger, and hope, sometimes all at once. It's not just about flying around in a suit. You feel the weight of legacy, the ache of trying to prove herself in a world built for everyone but her. The supporting cast is no less incredible. You got Anthony Ramos bringing a sly charm and complexity to Parker Robbins, a.k.a. the Hood, a villain who's not just a bad guy, but a product of the same environment that shaped Riri. And there's Alden Ehrenreich, yes, that Han Solo, showing up as a conflicted tech mogul, giving the kind of nuanced performance that makes you question who's really the hero and who's a villain. Even the smaller roles, Lyric Ross as Riri's best friend Natalie and Sacha Baron Cohen, believe it or not, making a scene-stealing appearance as Mephisto, are perfectly cast. Now, you can't talk about a Marvel movie without talking about the budget, right? Ironheart came in at a cool $200 million, a number that puts it right up there with the heavy hitters. But what's remarkable is where that money went. It's not just in the suits, the explosions, or the seamless CGI. It's in the way Chicago comes alive on screen. The gritty South Side alleys, the glowing neon of the city at night, the warm hum of Riri's makeshift garage. You see, Marvel didn't just use the city as a backdrop. They lived there, filming on location. They poured money into local crews, local businesses, even local artists with graffiti and murals you'll see in the film. It makes everything feel real, grounded, lived in. You're not just watching another generic city get blown up. You're in Riri's world. And speaking of box office, what a phenomenon. Ironheart, open to a